Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Mondays with Mundy. And by now you know that that's me, Jim Mundy, the historian for the Union League Legacy Foundation. You're about to see, I think, one of the most unusual episodes we've had since we started these in April of 2020. And I'll tell you, the title right now is going to be The Union League's Oddest Couple, Cassell and Jim, because this May, two employees, Cassell Moore in the banqueting department, the private events department, and yours truly, both celebrated our 45th years of employment at the league. So we had our 45th anniversary. Me on May the 15th and Cassell on May the 17th. So to honor the occasion, although I think honor might not be the way I would put it, I think certainly to recognize the occasion, John Meko, the executive director of the Legacy Foundation, interviewed Cassell and I. And so it is my great pleasure to introduce this episode of the Union League's Most Oddest Couple, Cassell and Jim. Enjoy.
Hello, I'm John Meko, the executive director of the Union League Legacy Foundation, and welcome to this very special edition of Mondays with Mundy. Of course, usually Jim Mundy is telling us about the history of this great institution, the Union League of Philadelphia. But today, he and his colleague, Cassell, are the history of the Union League of Philadelphia. They are celebrating 45 years each employed here at the Union League of Philadelphia. Welcome, Cassell. Welcome, Jim.
Thank you, John.
45 years, May 15th, 1978, May 17th, 1978.
Correct.
You start 2 days from each other.
Yep.
So you actually have seniority.
2 days older than she is, basically. Yeah.
Yes.
In 1978, Jimmy Carter is president.
Yep.
The mayor of Philadelphia is Frank Rizzo. And Jim Mundy is hired as what in 1978?
The Associate Archivist.
And what did you do, the Associate Archivist?
My job was basically to process collections that had not yet been processed. Now, the archives back then was just two old sleeping rooms up on the 5th floor in the middle section, banquet tables with bookshelves on top of them. So it wasn't exactly the state-of-the-art facility we have today in the collections vault. So it was a very different archival world. There were banquet tables just piled with papers and prints and boxes and things like that. So my job was to help Max Whiteman, the archivist, get through the material. So process it, file it, put it in a box, and put it on a shelf.
We've come a long way.
That is an understatement. We sure have.
And Cassell, how did you get here?
By a boat. I needed a job, so I went to Arrow Employment Agency and bought my job.
And what did you do when you got here?
And when I came here, I was a bus girl in the Oak Room, which is now the Mead Room. And I worked there for 3 months, and the GM saw me working there and said, no, she's too pretty for that job. And the rest is history.
So it wasn't that you were good at your job, you're just too pretty for it. That's wonderful.
So Jim, you've had how many different positions here? Too many to count?
Let's go. Associate Archivist, Archivist, Librarian, Curator. And then when I went into club management, I was the first activities manager. I became the first membership director. I was the house manager. So that gets us there. And then after that, I went back into the collections management. I was director of historical collections. Then, wow, close to 10.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot. And how many different positions have you had here, Cassell?
Bus girl, host, waitress, because in the ladies' dining room, waitress, captain, banquet manager.
So we are in what used to be the ladies' dining room.
Yes.
It's now the Heritage Center, the Sando room.
Yes.
Right.
1978, there are no women members.
Not close.
Right. It would be another 8 years before there were women members. So you couldn't come through the front door, is that correct?
Oh, Lord, no. Couldn't walk in the marble room either, the marble hallway.
Right.
Couldn't walk through the marble.
No,
we were not-
we're not allowed.
Employees were not even to be seen, let alone heard. We did not.
I find that impossible to believe in your case, Cassell.
Oh, it
Yeah.
was, I had control. I have such control.
Oh, she still does.
Oh, yes.
So who was president of the league in 1978 when you arrived?
Oh, Geez, I think it was not Harold Myers, Hal Bemis.
Hal Bemis.
Bemis.
Okay.
Yep.
So you've seen a lot of presidents.
You could say that, yeah.
Who's your favorite president since you got
I'm
here?
not going to answer that one.
FG.
FG.
And then,
Why FG?
oh, he's the best. Carmen Miranda era.
What is your most favorite moment at the league since you've been here? Program, event, favorite one?
You know, I don't know if memorable and favorite are the same, but when Richard Nixon was here in March of 1988 on his comeback trail to give a kind of precursor to his foreign policy speech in Chicago, which was the let's open up the doors to, well, it was kind of going back to China again. I had the pleasure of giving him a tour of the league house, and I can still picture it like it happened yesterday. And when we stopped in the library, and he asked me where I went to school, and I said LaSalle College. Right away, he went into the 1954 Tom Gola NCAA championships, and it was just like breathtaking.
That would be a good Mondays for Monday, actually, that visit, the Nixon visit.
That would be interesting, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
All right.
Cassell, what's your favorite or most memorable moment here?
Dressing up as Carmen Miranda for the cricket ground Christmas party in Lincoln Hall.
I remember that, actually.
I'm sure everybody else does too.
That was memorable. And what is the biggest single change since you arrived here?
Ooh. President Carter, John Carter, being a president.
And why was that such a change?
Because I remember when she was introduced to be a member, and then to see her become a president.
So women at the league.
Yes.
And
yes.
Joan was
And
one of the first
yes,
women members in
yes.
1986.
And I was a server at the time, waitress at the time, in the Sheraton Grill, and I waited on her. Yeah.
For you, Jim,
Me?
what's the biggest change?
I think the biggest change is the way that, I think it's the employee-member relationship. As we were referencing earlier, when in 1978, you could not talk to the members until they talked to you. I mean, you couldn't even walk in the front of the house areas. You had to walk in the back of the house. And I was part of the, I guess you call it the executive management team at that point, just even by being an archivist or librarian. I mean, remember, I got to eat dinner, and we had a special, at our own luncheon room.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yes.
Where Cellar 62 is now. But that didn't make any difference. I mean, my father could have been a member, and I wouldn't have been able to speak to him. I mean, so to me, the fact that today we not only speak to members, but we call them by their first names, we socialize with them, we know their families. To me, I think that is the biggest change that I've seen here in 45 years.
And?
Tita.
Yeah?
Yes. Yeah. And sometimes even now, when the guests would say, oh, my name is John or Mary, I still put the miss to it because it's just the respect.
So 45 years, in another 45 years when you retire,
Okay.
what do you want your legacy to be here? How do you want to be remembered?
Home away from home. Treat the member as at their home. So whatever they want, whatever it takes to make them happy, we're there for the service.
Jim, what's your legacy? What would you like your legacy?
Mine, if it could be anything, is that I help members learn, understand, and appreciate the history of their club, because no other city club, no other club in the country has a history like ours. And to me, that's important. So, and then secondly, that I help preserve the collections and use the collections to teach the history. So,
Well, you certainly have done that, and you certainly have made the members feel at home. So in 5 years, we'll do this again for your 50th. And we'll have a party like we did. Because I have to say, one of the most memorable, I've been here 17 years, and one of the most memorable moments was your 40th party. And I believe we called it The Odd Couple.
The Odd Couple, yeah.
And I think we'll probably put that right on the front of this show.
Absolutely.
If you will.
You bet.
The original Odd Couple, Cassell and Jim. Thank you for your 45 years of service, and Cheers.
Absolutely. You bet. Cheers. Slanchama.
Well, what did you think? Was that unusual or not? Certainly two very different people with very different personalities and very different perspectives. But nonetheless, I hope you enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun doing it. It was a hoot, actually, so I hope you all enjoyed watching it. But I can guarantee you we won't do a 45th one or a 90th one for either one of us. So thank you for watching. We really do appreciate your patronage over the years, and we hope you enjoy all these episodes. So we'll be back in 2 weeks with another episode of Mondays with Monday. So in between, stay well, take care, and thanks for watching. Bye.